So let's talk a little bit about the University of Washington Huskies. They beat up on Oregon State last weekend. So I think earlier in the year I said that their greatest test down the stretch would be USC. I didn't realize that Utah was leading the Pac-12 South. So what makes you... we need to know more about this Utah team. What makes Utah a good football team?
Well, Christian, I think you really hit on it. Utah kind of snuck up on us. I'm not sure if the Dogs are feeling the same way. But Utah is 7-1. They're a respectable football team. And I think it'll be one of the tougher matches yet for the Dogs. Utah's offense is actually in the bottom half of the Pac-12. They're ranked 7th in points per game, averaging 29.9. They're getting things done on the defensive side of the ball, keeping teams to 21.6 points per game. Averaging more points than you are allowing is a good way to win football games, that's for sure.
That's absolutely right there, Lacey.
Lacey, not to beat a dead horse here, but Utah seems to. They have a bully defense. They've put up 71 points off turnovers. But, however, they will be without safety Marcus Williams this weekend, who got hurt against UCLA. And that hurt them pretty bad against UCLA as Josh Rosen and company had a couple huge gains through the air, a couple really big plays. So I look for Jake Browning to probably take advantage of those same matchups with the freshman safety out there. Also, Utah does have the Pac-12 leader in sacks and Hunter Dimick. So, can't overlook these guys. They're 7-1. They prove they're a good football team. They're gonna make it pay when. Make it count when you guys turn the ball over. So if UW takes care of the ball and continues to do what they do, I think it's going to be a great game.
We talk about the offense all the time. Jake Browning, incredibly impressive this season, along with his teammates. The Huskies' defense is allowing 14.6 points per game and 318 yards per game. That's getting the job done on the other side of the ball as well. Which side of the ball is going to be more crucial in this Saturday's game for the Huskies?
I really think the defense is going to make both of these teams really special, and it's going to come down to the defensive side of the ball for both these teams on Saturday. And if Utah can really slow down this high-powered UW offense with your boy Drew, the possible Heisman candidate, Jake Browning, and can UW play well enough defensively to win on the road? One thing they really have to pay attention to is Utah running back Joe Williams, who you watch his highlights from last week. He bursted for 332 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns on 29 carries. Just unreal. He did that against a UCLA Bruins defense that had been pretty solid against the run this season as well. So it's going to be a pretty fun game to watch.
I think UW's offense is going to really have to get it done for the Huskies this weekend. Like I said before, like we've all said, Utah's defense is pretty stellar, and Washington averages 227 rushing yards per game. Utah allows 119 rushing yards per game. Washington sits 6th in pass yards per game with 259, while Utah allows 243 passing yards per game. So it's looking like a pretty good matchup with UW offense and Utah defense. I think if Miles Gaskin and the offensive line can execute the run game, that's going to be the separation for the Huskies, and that's going to get them the win.
I couldn't agree more, Lacey. The offense is working a 91% efficiency rating in the red zone, which is absolutely unheard of. As Jake Browning's pointing at a Cal player as I say that. Jake has also moved up to the number 2 spot on SportsCenter's Heisman Watch. He's got 30 total passing TDs, 1,700 yards and some change, and 69 rushing yards. I don't think he's going to be able to edge out Lamar Jackson, though, but it's been great for UW football to get a little public spotlight, get a national stage, set on them. I wouldn't be surprised if they catch some College game day here. Sooner or later, Lee Corso and crew is going to have to come down and watch the Dogs play because they've been absolutely incredible.
I think College game day is going to be in Utah, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I saw that on Google.
That could be right.
If you know that, please call on the show and let us know. I believe it is.
If it's going to be in Utah, that's great, but they need to come to the Dog Pound.
For sure, they
have to come here.
They need to come to Seattle.
It's almost ridiculous at this point. If they win the next 2 games, you have to come.
I'm pretty sure because looking at Utah's website this morning, it did say that actually on their homepage. So College game day will be there, which it should be. It's going to be a great game. I believe Browning will throw for at least 250 yards and he'll toss about 3 touchdowns. Like you mentioned there, Lacey Gaskin will pick up some carries and rush for about a touchdown or 2. The Huskies are going to lead this game, in my opinion, from start to finish. Won't be very close. Utah will put up a few points. Again, they're at home. But it's going to be a tough day for the Utah offense. I say Washington stays unbeaten with this one. They win the ball game 42-16.
42-16 on the road?
42-16 on the road. They're the number 4 team in the country.
Utah's number 17.
Yes, but a lot of their they barely beat BYU. And again, you can say we barely beat Arizona, but again, you look at a lot of these scores for Utah they're really, really close. I think the Huskies' speed is unbelievable this year.
All right.
Well, I'm going to go with 36-17 Dogs win. I think the Huskies are really going to be challenged with this Utes defense, but I think they'll be able to pull it out.
I'm going to say 42-17, Dogs roll. Jake throws for 3, runs for 1. The offense continues to dominate just because the Utah really, they're the number 17 team in the country. They haven't really played anybody, though, Christian. They played Southern Utah. They played BYU. I can't get behind a team that schedules Southern Utah to beat UW as well as good as they've been playing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You might as well schedule, Sisters of Charity.
Sisters of Charity.
Christian,
All
for the
right.
first time this year, I saw a flashing light.
We do. We have a caller. This is Micah from off campus. Micah, what do you think about this weekend's game for the Huskies?
Well, it's going to be a tough matchup. The thing you got to look at is, obviously you guys are big on stats, and that's important to look at when you're analyzing a game. Utah, much like the Huskies, didn't have much of a tough preseason schedule. They played Southern Utah and they played San Jose State, which we respectively played, Rutgers and some cupcake games. So I think that the interesting thing about this game, is a dynamic you haven't touched on yet, is that Troy Williams is their starting quarterback, who was a starting quarterback for the Huskies. And it's I think it's going to go one of two ways. I think the Dogs are going to jump on him quick, and it's going to be somewhat of a blowout, or I think he's going to feel the chip on his shoulder of proving, you guys should have given me a shot, you should have given me a chance, and they might make it a heck of a game. But that's all I had to say, and appreciate you guys' show, and go Dogs.
Micah, thank you very much, but I got one question for you. Utah, 17th ranked team in the nation. Lacey outlined how well the teams match up as far as what the Huskies do offensively and what the Utes do defensively. You really think it's going to be a blowout?
Well, as Drew pointed out, they're missing their starting safety, which is a huge factor. But UCLA's backup quarterback put up 40-something points on them, and I think you're looking at a guy who's second in the Heisman race, and what he's expected to do is put up a lot of numbers on them. And they do have a good defense that puts a lot of pressure coming from the outside. They like to blitz linebackers and lots of different things. Oregon State ran the same kind of schemes. Obviously a different talent level, but I think the Huskies are going to put them away.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. Micah, we appreciate the phone call.
Yep, go Lutes.
There it is.
Thanks, Micah.
Micah agreed with me. That Southern Utah game, man, that hurts me in my soul. You score 24 points on Southern Utah. Congratulations. And you get beat by 5 by Cal, who UW is absolutely rolled. So I just don't even think it's even a game. I'm sorry, Christian. I know you want them to play well and play well. I know you want it to be a good game, but I think it's going to be another unwatchable.
What's your take, Christian, real quick?
I don't know. I think Lacey outlined that everyone's talking about Jake Browning in this room, but really where the Huskies are much better than the Utes is in the run game. I mean, the Huskies are averaging 227 yards on the ground. Utah's giving up 119. I mean, the Huskies have to win the game on the ground. Mm-hmm. That's where I think it's going to be won and lost. But
they also got to stop Williams, for Utah, because he's had a great game coming off a great game against UCLA.
I don't see it being a blowout. I think this is actually going to be a true test for the Huskies, and I think they will win, but I don't think it's going to be 42-17.